You're listening to Zap Night, a video game review podcast, with your hosts, Danny and Kaylee. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 17 for Zap Night. I'm your host, Danny, and Kaylee is still out, but hopefully for just a little bit longer. So today I have a guest host.
A special guest host.
A special, super awesome guest host, Lori.
Hi.
Lori helps host another podcast that we just started up called Zap Night Movies. So if you like movies and you like listening to us talk, check out that. You can find it at zapnight.com like you can find everything else Zap Night related. So let's get into it. Episode 17. Sure. We are talking about
Yooka Laylee.
Yooka Laylee was developed by Platonic Games. It's actually former Rare employees. Now, Rare was the developers of a lot of old school Nintendo games like Donkey Kong Country and Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64 and just all those old platformer games.
All of them.
A lot of them. When they announced this game, they called it the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, and you can really feel that in this game.
I loved Banjo-Kazooie.
I did too. We played it together quite some time ago. It was originally funded through Kickstarter. I don't think they were expecting it to explode the way that it did. It was the first game to hit $1 million within 24 hours. So they were over $1 million within the first day.
Wow. What was their goal?
I honestly don't know. Do you know that?
No, I don't know. I was just wondering.
I did look it up I didn't look up their goal, but I did look up, obviously, what their numbers that they actually ended up hitting.
Yeah.
They ended up raising $2.7 million.
Wow.
And the campaign ended with 73,206 backers. It's a lot of people. And we saw all those people in the end credits because everybody who pledged, I don't know if there was a certain tier or if it was everybody who pledged, but they got their names in the credit roll. And
there was a lot
of people in there. A lot of Matts, a lot of Jims, Tylers, Jessicas. It was originally released for PS4, Xbox One, and it was planned to be released for the Wii U, but the Wii U had some sort of technical difficulties on developing the platform, so they changed it to the Switch, and they're still working on the Switch release. But for everyone else, it was released worldwide on April 2017. And I think they also had a PC version, like for Steam or something also, but we played it on the PS4.
And you were a backer?
I was a backer, yeah. I was originally just a digital backer, and then after they started development and after the Kickstarter ended, they opened it up to physical copies, and so I bumped up my pledge to include a physical copy because I prefer physical media because I like seeing it in my game room. So I actually had it set for the Wii U because I figured it would be more fitting on the Wii U than it would be for the PS4.
Oh, yeah.
But because they ended the development for the Wii U, I decided to switch to the PS4 version since I had a PS4 at the time. I didn't have a Switch, so I kept it with the PS4, and that's the version that I have. Although, well, I guess now I'm kind of glad that I still didn't do it with the Switch because I still wouldn't have it yet. So, yeah, it's probably a good thing. So, let's talk about the story a little bit. It starts off with Capital B and Dr. Quack, who activate this machine that steals books. And they don't really say why they're doing this. They just kind of activate a machine and they start stealing. Oh, yeah, they did. They said that they wanted to resell. They wanted to have a monopoly on all the books so that they could resell them at a higher rate. I kind of remember that.
Huh.
While this machine is sucking in all these books, back at the Shipwreck Creek, Yooka and Laylee are sunbathing. And Laylee has a book sitting next to her
with golden pages.
It's a special book that was found in the hull of the pirate ship. The book starts flying away and scatters all the golden pages all over the world. Yooka and Laylee go to they find where the book is being sucked into, and they find out that Capital B has stolen the book, and they go on this big adventure to collect all the pages and make the book whole again. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for story. I guess, well, let's talk about who Yooka and Laylee are. Yooka is a green chameleon type lizard, and Laylee is a bat, and they play a lot like Banjo-Kazooie, where, you know, Banjo is the bear and Kazooie is the bird inside his backpack who helps him fly around. It's a very similar concept where Yooka is the feet and the movement, and Laylee is the flight and some of the attacks and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, story, what'd you think about the story? Any thoughts?
Why?
I know. What's so great about this book? Just because they're golden pages?
Yeah.
Like, there's
not really an explanation as to why.
I know. I thought that same thing. There's so many whys in this game. It was like, why is Yooka Laylee so involved in collecting the book back, other than it was their book to begin with and it's being stolen? And why does Capital B want that book so bad? Like, what does that book represent to him? Because when you first start playing the game, he talks about just wanting to collect all the books to be able to resell them. But what does this one book have anything to do with anything? I don't really get it.
Well, if it was in a pirate ship, maybe that ties into something later on to come.
Like a future game?
Yeah, I mean, what's with the pirate treasure that you collect in the game?
That's very true, yeah. That's very true. Well, you know, I have to say, a lot of the characters in the game talk about wanting to be included in a sequel. Did you catch that?
A little bit, yeah.
I think a lot of it is them just kind of playing around with, because they break that fourth wall all the time, talking about it being a game and, you know, wanting to be included in the sequel, and, you know, it's just, I think they're just having fun with it.
Well, I mean, look how good it was received, so...
That's true. Oh yeah, they absolutely could do a sequel without any problems. Granted that the game itself is well received now that it's been out, so... We'll see how our scores match up. And
so the other thing is the worlds. The worlds are so different. Like, what, I don't know, how does that tie into the story?
What I understand of the worlds is that the pages have some sort of special power to activate the tomes, and the tomes are those worlds. So in my mind, the books that Yooka Laylee are going into is the world that is being described within the book. So it would be like if you had a copy of Twilight sitting on the table,
and then they went to Twilight,
and then they went into Twilight. Yeah, that would be exactly the concept. I think that's how I interpret it,
I guess.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise, there's really no reasoning for doing what they're doing other than they want their book back. I mean, it seems like a lot of work just to get a silly book back, but every page has their own personality, so I mean, maybe there's more to it than just it being a book. Oh man, there are so many puns in this game too. Like, every conversation that you have with characters has like a joke at the beginning that they're like kind of dogging on each other and making puns about what type of character they are, and it's so silly. The stuff that they say is so funny.
They did a lot of that in Banjo-Kazooie too.
They did, yeah. And I love that they play with that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I guess, you know, the developers must have had a soft spot for Banjo-Kazooie, and as did a lot of the fans. Clearly, I mean, to make $1 million in the first day, obviously there was a lot of good feelings about this type of game, so it was fun. What'd you give it for story out of 10?
6.
A 6?
Yeah.
I gave it a 7. Any other thoughts about story? Why you gave it a 6?
I think just because there wasn't enough there for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and maybe this is just experience, I'm playing so many other games that had barely any story at all, But the fact that there was story at all is what makes it good. I think, though, that the story, like in Banjo-Kazooie, there's more of a story there on why they're... I don't know. I think that there's more of a story there. That the witch is an actual bad guy. Girl, lady, I don't know. But in this game, Capital B is just like a boss.
He's just like any other corporate guy.
Yeah, that's all it is. He's just a corporate, money-hungry guy.
Yeah.
There is nothing else about it. You know, I would be curious to know if Capital B, if there's more of an underlining story behind Yooka Laylee other than what's being told, like maybe a developer story of, you know, these employees being under control of, you know, the rare group, and
that's why they went to Kickstarter, to kind of get back at Capital B.
Yeah, see? I'd be curious to know if there was a little bit of play on that, because I'm sure that there probably is. I mean, who knows? They may have been working, I don't know when they quit Rare, but maybe they were working with Rare before this game was released and brought this kind of game to them, and they laughed in their face and said, no, we don't want to do this. And then, you know, they went on to do their own thing and made the game anyway. It's very likely. So let's move on to graphics. I really had no problems with the graphics, aside from a little bit of shadow pixelation.
Me too.
That was the only big flaw that I noticed, but otherwise, this game is beautiful. The water looks really good. Yeah.
It's very clean. It's very crisp, except for those few little things hidden in the background.
Yeah, but otherwise, all the characters moved really well. The animations were really well done. The lighting looked really good. There was a few problems that I noticed with some of those real dark rooms, like where you gotta eat the glowworms to be able to glow in those real dark rooms. Some of the graphics were kind of funky in there, but otherwise the game just looked really good.
I give it a 9.
I give it a 9 also.
It was very pretty, and I like pretty games.
It does help when you're playing a game for as long as we played, which I played it for 33 hours and 30 minutes.
I think I was like 31 hours.
31, 33, yeah. And, I mean, when you're playing a game that long, to have some pretty graphics go with it is definitely a plus. It makes it a little bit easier to bear when maybe some of the gameplay is a little bit harder.
It also helps with the motion sickness thing.
That's true, yeah.
Because I get that.
The camera was pretty good in this game, too. It wasn't too in the way. Sometimes it was a little tough to keep it going, but I feel like you had a lot of control with the camera, so it wasn't too bad to be able to look around. So let's talk about the gameplay.
Wait.
What?
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 I don't know. This could go under gameplay too, but I really liked the honeycombs. Like all the nods to, again, back to Banjo-Kazooie. All the honeycombs.
You know, I didn't even consider that being a Banjo-Kazooie reference. I really thought that it was just a capital B thing. Because he's a bee, and they're inside the hive towers, and... So, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I didn't even make that correlation.
That's your health in Banjo-Kazooie is the honeycombs.
Yeah, it makes sense. I just never even thought about it. And in this game, your health is butterflies, which makes sense because a bear would eat honey and a lizard would eat butterflies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. These guys, they know what they're doing.
Okay, gameplay.
Gameplay.
So
I loved how huge all of the worlds are. However, there was only 5. Now, being that there was only 5, I still spent a lot of time in each. I ended up 100%ing this game. So, I mean, obviously, I spent a lot of time playing it. You know, there was no lack of exploration. But as far as diversity, I think that they could have maybe cut each level in half and made a couple extra levels or something.
Yeah, I think 2 more levels.
Yeah.
2 more.
Just, I think that they should have had a water level, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't. I know. No, you're right.
The swimming mechanics were awful.
They were awful, and I did put that as a negative. But every other game has like a swimming level. They should have had like a tropical paradise level where there was a lot of swimming involved, or flying from island to island or something like that. But the worlds that we did get were pretty awesome. They were huge. Let's talk about each level.
Okay.
What was the first level?
Tribal Stack Tropics.
And that was really just like a rainforest type mountainy terrain. Well, tribal. It really, the title says it all.
Right.
It's a tribal tropic. It's kind of like
with like tombs.
Yeah. Oh, like a Mayan type place.
Temples.
That's
the word I was looking for.
Yeah, and you can really see that. A lot of the art in the world, kind of revolved around that. So, what was World 2?
World 2 was the ice
glacier.
Glitter Glaze Glacier.
Yeah, that's what it is. And this one was really just like the ice snow level.
Slippery
level. Lots of slipping and sliding. This one had quite a bit of swimming in it.
Yeah, probably the most swimming out of all of them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it definitely had the most swimming out of all of them. The boss in this level was super easy. The boss in the first,
the easiest.
Yeah, I think so. The boss in the first level was like he shot out
logs
at you.
You had to roll up his ramp.
Otherwise, you'd slide if you didn't roll.
And then you had to jump over the logs.
Right.
Which I gave up in the first... when I first played it, I just gave up. And I just moved on. And I'll come back to this later. Well, when I went back, I had flight. So I just flew up there.
Oh, cheater. Cheater. When I played this, I fought him, and I fought him before... Because during this gameplay, they did an update where they changed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And I fought him before the update came out, and so I fought him on, I guess, quote, hard mode. And it really wasn't that bad. I think my biggest problem was I didn't realize when I first started playing that you could stop and slow down on the ramp as long as you're curled up in the ball. But... because when I was first fighting him, I thought that I had to keep moving, otherwise I'd stop and start sliding back down. Once I figured that out, that I could stop and move around, it made it super easy, and then I beat it pretty quick. Actually, a lot of this game, keep trying it over and over and over again until eventually I figured it out and got it down pat to where I could beat it. So let's talk about the third world.
Moody Maze Marsh.
This was like the poison... water swamp. There you go.
Poison swamp.
I really liked the mushrooms.
I liked this level a lot, but there wasn't enough, I guess.
My problem in this level was everything hurt you.
Yeah.
Everything you touch, the water you touch, some of the bushes you touch, everything would hurt you. So you're just casually walking around and you're like getting hurt all over the place, and that was very frustrating. Otherwise, I didn't like
the shopping carts in this level.
I didn't either. I also didn't like the high walls in this level. It made getting around really difficult. Every time I had to get to a specific place, I would have to find a landmark that was close by and hopefully stumble upon what I needed to find. I spent way too much time just trying to find where I needed to be in this level. The boss in this level was a tentacle guy, and he was kind of hard. I fought him maybe 3 or 4 times before I beat him.
I actually watched you. I watched you before I played it, so it was a lot easier for me, I think. Yeah,
because I watched didn't have that learning curve.
Yeah. But I still struggled with it a little bit.
I think it wasn't too bad once I found that there was a couple butterflies that you could eat while you're playing this boss, but... I really feel like that they are strategically cheating when they design these boss fights. Not so much the first 2, but this one, I feel like that they're strategically cheating, where it's like, you got your boundaries of the plants, the spiky plants, plus, you get double tentacles rolling around, and they're trying to up the difficulty, but in that way, it's just making it frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is fun, because it's difficult to an extent.
I had a lot of frustration.
There's a lot of frustration. I would be working on other things, and Lori would be playing it in the other room, I guess. And she's just hollering at this game and yelling at it, and I'm sorry.
You were too.
I was too. Oh yeah, I've got streams of me darn near cursing, if not cursing. So what's that? World 3? Let's talk about World 4.
Your favorite.
My favorite.
The Casino.
Casino. It's really just like this big...
Oversized.
Oh, yeah, oversized. Well, maybe not. Because, I mean, a lizard and a bat would be awfully tiny inside a casino.
Yeah, but, I mean, Capital B was there.
That's true, yeah. But yeah, you are like a tiny creature inside a huge casino. And you go from station to station and play all the, like, mini games. And
I loved playing the slot machines.
Really?
Yes.
I really didn't like the slot machines. You were laughing a lot at me when I was playing slot machines because there was a couple of them that would like throw you off.
Yeah.
Where like you would
the button in front of the line wouldn't match up with that
right
line.
So it was like, you know, you would go through all these slot machines the same way, and then you'd hit this one that it's a little bit off, where like the first button would turn off the middle one and the second button would turn off the far right one. It was so weird, but I mean it kept it interesting instead of it being too repetitive. And I think that's what they were going for. But yeah, they had like just a bunch of crazy little mini games, and it was fun. The catch in this level was that you didn't collect the pages like you normally do.
You had to get coins.
You had to get coins to exchange for the pages, which is very similar to like going to Chuck E. Cheese and winning tickets to exchange for prizes.
Yeah.
So in that way, that was kind of fun, but it added to the insane amount of collectibles that you already have in this game. But it was still fun. Who's the boss? Oh, the boss in this level.
I didn't get to this boss because after the second level, I kind of gave up on the minecart thing. Yeah,
in the minecart thing, it got increasingly difficult after each level.
I really liked the minecart in the first level, but when I realized it was in the second level,
and then the third level, and so on,
I kind of got. Oh yeah.
The hardest thing is the timing with the minecart, because if you don't jump just right, you're gonna run into stuff, or if you don't shoot the cannonball at the right time, you're gonna miss shooting your object. So there was a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Trying to get this thing down pat. And the casino one is really where it peaked. For me, it was the most difficult. The other three that you had to do before level 4 were difficult, but not overly difficult. Where this one, I think you had to get 150 coins, and it was very difficult. I think I played just the minecart maybe 10 plus times. But the cool thing about the minecart is if you screw up, you could hit start and go to restart. So you could restart the minecart level. Where the boss in level 4...
You have to just die.
And that goes for all the bosses.
Yeah.
If you're not stuck... Like, most of the bosses, you're stuck in a room and you can't go nowhere. So if you screw up to the point of no return, your only option is to die. There is no running away and coming back later. It's just you're stuck in the room, and if you die, then you get to restart. But if you don't die, then you have to keep going. So it adds a lot of time to your gameplay just sitting there waiting to die. And the one in level 4 was probably the worst. He shows up right after the minecart guy, which is where we're going with this whole thing, is that right after the minecart game, if you beat it, you unlock the boss. And the boss turns out on this like circular course, like minecart course, and you have to fight him on the track.
He's like the giant security guard.
I think his design was the coolest out of all the bosses, out of all the monsters. Even he was awesome looking, and he had an awesome boss music too, which we'll talk about music later. But so much about this boss was awesome, and so much about this boss was infuriating. I think I fought this boss maybe a dozen or so times before I finally beat it. And even then, when I did beat it, it was after I left level 4 and came back later when I decided to actually beat it. And I don't know, it was just, if you didn't have that timing down, it would screw you up. And having more butterflies help too, because you start off with 5 butterflies and you get 1 extra butterfly container in each world.
Yeah.
By the time you make it to world 5, you could potentially have an extra 5 or 6 hearts to help you with whatever else you need help with, whether it be the final boss or backtracking a little bit. So that did help, having the extra hearts. But yeah, that boss was probably the hardest. So anyway, let's move on to level 5.
Level 5. Galleon Galaxy?
Yes, that sounds right. Level 5 was like like a planetary...
The space. Out in outer space.
But what was with the water? Was it supposed to be like space?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just...
Star pool?
Yeah.
I don't know. But that was poisonous water too.
Because there had to be something there.
Yeah, they could have just had nothing. I liked this world. It was really pretty, but there was something about it. I don't really know. The atmosphere wasn't quite right. It made it... I don't think there was quite enough to look at. It was very kind of a gloomy world. I don't know.
I think for me it was really pretty, but everything was secluded in its own like orbs. You had to go to each like orb to do the things in each orb around the main island.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like when you were just outside roaming around, there wasn't really much to look at.
It helped that by the time you make it to level 5, you can fly. And that does help with getting around in this world between all the different islands. The boss in this level had to do with the transformation. It was a moon. The boss is a moon, which is kind of a part of the story of this world with I don't know, what was it, a meteor or something that you had to rescue the meteor, but you ended up blowing up the meteor, and then the moon got mad,
yeah,
so
he
that
was
the
like
moon would have
shooting stuff out his butthole.
Yeah, he was. So then you go up to his butthole and you shoot it with fire or something, and then he explodes. And then when he explodes, the moon, who is his girlfriend, gets really angry and attacks you, and then you have to fight the moon. But the transformation thing, so every world has this Dr.
Puz.
Puz, yeah. And she's like this transformation doctor, scientist, who...
I preferred Mumbo Jumbo.
Oh yeah, because that was in... Banjo-Kazooie
yes,
too.
He was the guy that transformed you.
Yeah,
he was the witch doctor guy.
Yeah. Now, she herself was like a transformed person.
She was like a person, but part like octopus or something.
Yeah, her head was in a fishbowl, and there was like a fish that would swim around and like leap out of the water sometimes. But she would transform you in each world, and part of collecting, you would have to collect...
The molecule.
Molecule.
Like
puns.
molecule.
Yeah.
Oh, just wait.
She would transform Yooka Laylee into different things in each world. And like world 1, it was a plant. World 2, it was... Snowplow. World 3 was a fish cluster.
Mm-hmm. School of fish.
World 4 was...
The helicopter.
The helicopter, right. World 5 was the ship.
The sailboat. Or pirate ship.
Pirate ship, yeah, something like that. It was the spaceship. Haha.
Haha.
So yeah, that was how you fought the boss, was in that spaceship form. And you had the option of shooting it with a cannon, or shooting it with a flamethrower, or shooting it with like an exploding bomb. And then you had to utilize those to figure out how to fight the boss. And I think I did this one first try. Did you end up beating it?
I didn't play the boss on that one.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's too bad.
I didn't need the page. I could just move on, so I moved on.
That's true, yeah.
I wasn't as concerned as with 100%ing it because I couldn't get past the stupid minecarts.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like, what's the point?
Speaking of minecarts, the minecart in World 5 was really weird because it was like every jump was like a moon jump.
Yeah, it was.
It was like the slow motion jump, which you would think would make it more difficult, but I didn't. I found it way easy, like way easier than the level 4 one. So that's all the worlds. Now you also have the home hub, which is the Honeybee Towers, right? Is that right? Hivery Towers.
Hivery.
And that is actually like capital B's factory business. I don't know. But you can find more collectibles in that world as well, but not quite like they are in the other worlds, because this is more just like the hub that you're collecting stuff in. So let's talk about the collectibles. What all can we collect in each world?
Oh my gosh, so much stuff.
So much stuff. And I actually, as I'm playing this game, I'm like, okay, so we have to collect this, and this now. And it's like they would tack on another one, and then another one, and then another one. It just got crazy.
Okay, so your main thing is your pages.
Right, and that's to progress in the world. Because the amount of pages you have unlock the next world, or can expand the world to tomb,
whatever. Yeah. And then you have the quills.
And the quills is kind of like your currency, which helps you buy moves.
Ah, yes.
And that's another thing you gotta collect, is the stinking moves.
Oh my gosh.
I know. We'll get to it. So the quills, there's 200 in each level. And I think the pages, there's 25 in each level?
25, yeah.
What else?
We got the Molly Cool.
Right, and there's one of those in each level
transform you.
To help you transform.
Your health extender and your power extender.
In each world.
And then you have a pirate treasure.
Oh, right, and that's like hidden. So
and really, what is it for?
It's not for anything. I swear it's not for anything. I got lucky and found one in the first world, and then it's like Yooka says something like, we should be looking for these in all the worlds. And I'm like, oh, okay, what does it do? But it doesn't show up on your totals menu, so It's like there's really no point other than maybe to get the achievement in PlayStation Network. I don't know. There's really no reason.
I don't know. Does it unlock a tonic?
Maybe, but I don't know.
I'm not sure.
We would have to look it up. I don't know. It's not that important.
Anyway, and then you have play coins.
Yep,
so you can play the arcade game.
There's one arcade game in each level. And these are really just like mini games. But then there's like an extra 3 or 4 in the main hub, along with the ones that you get in each world. So, it adds to the gameplay a little bit.
I want to talk about the arcade games, but I mean...
We'll get there.
Just take note of that.
Yep.
And then the Ghost Riders, which I really enjoyed the Ghost Riders.
Did you?
Yes.
I liked finding most of them, except the fighting one. I hated the fighting one.
Okay, so I did a little research on the Ghost Riders.
All right, let's talk about Ghost Riders. First off, there's 5 Ghost Riders in each world.
Do you know why there's 5?
I have no idea. Maybe because there's 5 writers in the game?
Because they are the writers of the 5 books.
Oh! So each story plot writer has their own ghost?
Each of the tombs. Yes. Tomes. Whatever.
Whatever. Okay. So there's 5 ghosts in all 5 levels. And if you collect all 5, you get a pagey.
Correct.
And each ghost has a special requirement for being able to collect it.
So you have Normie, who is the yellow, who is just normal. He just is like, hey, come get me.
Yeah, okay, all right. Hence the name Normie. Which, by the way, there's no mention of their names in the game.
I looked this up.
Yeah, there's no mention of their names in the game.
So hopefully these are correct by the website that I looked it up on. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
And then we have Angry, who is the angry.
The red one.
Angry.
Gotcha. Okay. And you can only collect him by fighting him, right?
Yes.
That's because he's the red one.
You have to avoid him.
So he would attack you, and if you jump out of the way when he attacks you, then you can attack him back. And if you hit him 3 times, then you can collect him. But sometimes that's just a pain in the butt. He was really hard in the 5th level because of the fans.
Oh, yeah.
He was really hard. I spent a lot of time trying to get him.
So then we have Eevee, who is the green one, who evades you.
Aha!
You have to chase him around to collect him.
Yep. He runs away.
And then we have Heidi, who is one hiding.
Hilarious. This game is full of this kind of stuff, guys.
Heidi is the blue ghost, where you have to use your sonar
to be able to collect him.
Her.
Oh, excuse
it's a girl.
Excuse me. Yeah, and this one confused me when I first started playing, because it was like she would show up, and then as soon as you get close, she'd disappear again and laugh at you.
And I had no idea either. I actually looked it up.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I looked it up to figure it out because it was driving me nuts.
I played it and was trying to collect it, and all of a sudden it was just like she showed up and was like, "Here I am, come collect me." and that was in the first world. By the second world, you had figured it out, and I said to you, and I'm like, "What am I supposed to do?" Like the last level, she just showed up and was there, and you're like, "Use the sonar, shoot it out, boom she's there. No problem."
And then we have Feedy, who is the pink one that you have to feed.
Yeah, and that one was challenging at times. Because you would have to shoot like a berry at it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the berries are far away. And you gotta really run to the ice world was kind of hard to get that one. Because the bombs are like 3 tiers over. Yes. And you gotta get the bombs and then jump 3 tiers back before the time runs out to be able to shoot them.
And this is another one I gave up on and I came back to in the end when I could fly.
When you could fly over there, that makes sense.
And then it was a breeze.
Ah, yeah, I bet. I did it the hard way. I did it per level.
So yeah, I really liked the Ghost Riders.
They're different. Again, I mean, adding to the puzzleness of the game. Not only do you have to find them, but you got to figure out how to collect them too.
Yeah, and I liked that about this, is that it was a puzzle in itself to collect them, unlike in Banjo-Kazooie, where they were just there, the Jinjos.
Yeah.
Where you just had to collect
just had
the
to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the puzzle and trying to get them this time.
You know, I really... we'll talk about it later. So... You wanted to go back to something. The arcade games.
The arcade games,
Let's talk about the arcade games.
Okay.
They're really difficult.
Most of them are really difficult.
They're not all that easy. And
the first one...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, are you gonna...
No, I was gonna say I think they're designed that way because they're designed after old school arcade games. You were gonna say the first one. The first one is like a racing game.
Yeah.
Where you race around in a minecart.
And it wasn't too bad.
That top-down style is a very classic, original Nintendo type racing game. And even I remember a Super Nintendo game, Rock and Roll Racing, that was that same like overview of the track where you just kind of you have to turn left and right depending on which direction your car was facing. And at first it's kind of disorienting when you're trying to turn right but you're actually turning left, and it's weird, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. Rextro?
Rextro?
What? Rextro? Wex?
Because it's like retro, but with
Rex. Rexro?
It's really hard for me to say.
It's okay. Skip it.
But I want to talk about him because I thought he was really cute.
He is really cute. And they dog on him for being old school.
Yeah.
They Yooka Laylee is so mean to this poor little old school 8-bit dinosaur. Or probably 64-bit dinosaur.
Yeah.
He's very unfinished. He's very polygonal. And he's got old school tube lines going through him. And he's really cute, and he's so happy to be there, and he's so excited for you to play his arcade games.
Which, really, why? Why are there these huge arcade games in the middle of these worlds? I don't understand.
But I thought they were, when I first saw the arcade, I'm like, oh this is so
awesome.
cool.
That's so cute.
And it's huge. And then you play the game and it's not all that great. I think what they should have done is they should have made it a little more old school, 8-bit, 16-bit, 64-bit graphics too. Because when you play them, they're just like regular graphics. Regular, like, the casino one where you had to jump the hurdles was just like Yooka Laylee in the casino running this course.
Yeah.
There wasn't any graphical changes to it, which there really should have been. But otherwise, I mean, they were pretty basic mini games.
My favorite was the ice one, I think. I think that's the one where you
had to attack.
You just had to attack.
And you had to keep collecting the quills.
Yeah.
Without getting hit by the monsters or falling in the water.
Yeah, I liked that one.
My favorite...
And then there was the bee one, where you were the bee.
Yeah, that was in the third world.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The hurdles.
That one was probably the hardest. The fifth one was my favorite.
Oh yeah,
I think.
I didn't like that one.
That one was I don't remember the name of the game, but it was a helicopter game where you were a helicopter, and when you pushed the button, the helicopter would fly up, and when you would let go of the button, he would fall down. And it's just like that same game where Yooka Laylee is flying, and you hold the button to fly, and you release the button to fall, and that timing you had to get to avoid the obstacles in the level, which were bees and just actual obstacles. But yeah, I really like that game. So that you actually get 2 pages for beating the arcade challenge. You get one for actually completing the arcade, and then you get a second one for getting the high score. And I was able to do that on all 5 levels.
Not me.
There were some that were really hard. Specifically the hurdle one in World 4. That one was the hardest. I think it took me like a half hour to beat that thing. I don't know. I don't even know how many times I tried, but it took a while. And when I did do it, it was like a celebration. I think there was tears involved.
You want to talk about some other characters?
No.
No.
Yes, we can, but I actually want to talk about the moves before we get too crazy here.
Okay.
Because the moves were probably the worst aspect of this whole game. I don't know. If you want to talk about it in a minute, we can. If you want to talk about characters first.
Well, I have to say that all the moves, though, were very similar to Banjo-Kazooie, and that was very nostalgic to me.
Sure, yeah, I can see that.
However, there was way too many moves and way too many button combos, and the whole, having to learn them in each level... And then having to go back and replay.
Yeah. So, to explain it a little more, every level you get a free move from Trousers.
From the hub world, you get a free move.
And Trousers, he's so cute. His design is amazing.
Yes. Yes. I love his cell phone.
His huge old school cell phone. Plus, he's wearing trousers where he's a snake. So his head is in one pant leg, and it goes down, his body goes down through the pant leg and up the other pant leg and then up the other side. So it's he's this, I don't know, it's so funny how they have him made. But he's a high class businessman. He is rolling in the quills. But then, so you get a free one in the hub world, and then each level you can buy one or so. I think the first world you get 3, the second world you get 2, and then you get 1 in the last 3. But you can buy more moves. And when you buy the moves, you can only buy certain ones in each level. The biggest problem that I have with this game is that when you get the moves, you have to backtrack to be able to use the moves in the first worlds. So, every world, you actually could utilize all of the moves that you get at the very end. However, you can't get those moves until you make it to the very end.
That was kind of frustrating.
Very frustrating.
Because there was times where I would be sitting and trying to figure out something, and there was no way for me to even do it because I didn't have
You
the
didn't have
move
the
yet,
move
and I didn't know.
Yep. The one that ticked me off probably the most was in the second world. There's this like laser beam that you travel all this way to get to this room where you need to be able to use the laser beam to be able to turn invisible, where you shoot the ice block.
Yeah.
And you don't even get that move until like world 4. Well, you make it all the way up to get to this room, and you can't even do anything there. It's like a big question mark. So then you find out much later, oh, well, you can turn invisible and use the laser beam and whatever. But yeah, it was so frustrating to find yourself in a puzzle situation and not be able to utilize not be able to get the pagey because you're missing a move. So really, I think you did the same thing where we would just
try and push through and
get to the next world just to get the move and then backtrack and do as much as you can.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and talk about each character if you want. We have Yooka Laylee, who we already talked about.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the snake.
Yep, we have Trousers, who
That's all.
He's the salesman. I guess we did talk about everybody else, didn't we?
Mostly except Vendy, which I really didn't like her.
I didn't like her design at all. She reminded me of like SpongeBob's mom or something.
Yes, exactly.
She's like this yellow refrigerator, and she sold you tonics, and the tonics basically gave you like little cheats to be able to use in the game. Like one would give you an extra heart, or one would give you more energy when you do certain moves. It was really just to give you a little nudge or a little bit of an aid if you're stuck on a certain spot. But she was everywhere too. There was like 4 or 5 of her in every world.
Well, she's a vending machine.
I guess. I guess so. I liked the minecart guy. I thought he was cute. He was charming. I even though his mini game wasn't super fun, it was very reminiscent of like Donkey Kong Country and the minecart game, or the minecart worlds or levels in that game. But kind of on a more difficult level, and I don't know. It was fun, but it wasn't super fun. But I liked his character.
What did you think of the Knights of Hamelot?
Every time I saw them, I knew that I was in for a big puzzle. Usually, the Knights of Hamelot, there was, 4 of them? Or 5 of them?
4 of them, yeah.
And they usually correspond with each other, and they're spread out through the whole map. The first world is where you see them, and you actually go up to them, and they'll tell you, hey, we're looking for a treasure, find my friend, and then they give you a hint where his friend was. So you would have to hunt down that location to find his friend. Then you found him, and he's like, hey, okay, we're looking for a treasure, find my other friend at this location. Then they give you this, like, vague hint at the next location of the next pig that you gotta find. And they show up, I don't know, maybe 2, 3 worlds where you have to go and do that? They're in World 1.
They're in World 1.
I don't think they're in World 2.
I don't think so.
I don't think they're in World
3.
Are they? No, I don't think so.
No.
They're definitely in World 4.
Because you have to fly them to specific places.
Right, and then they're in World 5, where you gotta unlock the key.
To get keys.
Yeah. There's also the Shovel Knight, who is a cameo appearance from the game Shovel Knight, which I thought was interesting. I wonder how that worked out, if the Shovel Knight developers helped develop this game, or if the Shovel Knight developers gave a lot of money to help with the game. I don't know. But in any case, Shovel Knight's in this game. If you like Shovel Knight, you can look forward to seeing him.
What was the cloud guy that you had to race?
Nimbus? No, I think Nimbus was the big one.
No, the big one was Nimbo.
Cumu, I don't know. But yeah, there was a little racing cloud where they usually had some sort of course set up where you had to race him. He had a little like racing helmet on.
I liked the race in The Last World.
With the boat?
Where you raced all the way around the galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute.
That was really cute. It was really challenging. And it was a long race. But if you can get the upper hand, I think I did it the first time and kind of got an idea of what I was doing and what I needed to do to get the upper hand. And then by the second time around, I was able to do it without a problem.
So we also had the snowmen.
The snowmen, yep, where you had to find their hats. You had the cannonball guy.
Yeah.
What was his name? You remember?
Blast something. Blasto. Blasto.
Yeah, it was something like that. And he always had something stuck in his mouth. In his cannon hole.
Blastooey.
Okay.
Like Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo and Tooie or whatever. He had a funny part in the first world where you had to shoot the air duct guys. And he's like, hey, yeah, I have a gift for these guys. Can you help me out? And then you go and shoot these guys
like,
across the way. Yeah, ha ha ha, well, I got you. That'll teach you for blowing wind my way or something like that. Or they were making fun of him or something, I think.
And then they end up praising him in the end for being the hero.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because he makes this weird appearance at the very end of the game.
What'd you think of the enemies in each level? The corplets.
I was really confused when we'll have to talk about the quiz too. But when we first did the quizzes, they were talking about those guys, and I was really confused because they look different in each world. So I didn't really know who the duck was talking about because I didn't realize that they were the same enemies. They were just in different outfits.
Yep.
But they looked really cute. I really liked the pack of cards enemies.
Yeah, they were cute. They were very cute.
The one in the guys in World 5 looked really weird. They were like brains or something.
Yeah. The first world one, where they had like the skull on their head.
Yeah.
They totally reminded me of Cubone.
Oh yeah, they did. I didn't even think about that, but they totally did. Yeah, they were like tribal guys or something. Oh, we didn't talk about the skull guy.
Well,
because he was nothing.
Yeah, really. I mean, he didn't really. I don't know.
He was like this adventurer guy who always got kidnapped by something, and you would have to help him out, and he would give you a page for it. But that was about it. But yeah, I mean, I liked that the enemies were different in each world. That kind of made it nice. I hated the bee guys. They were so difficult to kill.
Ugh. Yes. I just avoided them.
The only way you could kill those was by shooting an echo blast at them and then attacking them right away while they were green. Same kind of goes for the eyeball guys who would attach their eyeballs to different objects around the world and then like possess them and attack you. Those guys, the only way to kill them was to shoot an echo blast at them too and then attack them. Otherwise, if they turn red, there's no attacking them.
No, they would put their eyeballs on whatever thing they were on, and they would turn red and they'd spin and attack you. But if you just jump up and hover over them, and when they were done attacking, you could just pound on them.
Yeah, that's true. I was shooting them with the Echo Blast because even if they're red, you can still shoot them with the Echo Blast. And it would shoot their eyeballs off. And then you could kill the eyeballs. So
one of the things in games that I really enjoy is their idle moves. So when you're not playing and they like make a little move waiting for you to do something.
I don't think I ever sat long enough and noticed any of them.
Yeah, because there was one where Laylee gets up and flies around Yuka's head.
Oh, you can trigger those?
No. I mean, probably, but
if you push the arrow keys, you know how you got your sticks, then you got your arrow keys? If you push one of the arrow keys, he does a different one of those things. where Yooka will stop and go like nag you on, or he'll do a little like dance thing. I was liking that in
the dance club.
In the dance club, and I could have him do a little jig in the dance club. That was fun. But yeah, there was the one where Laylee would fly around Yuka's head and then like bite his ear or whatever.
I don't know. I enjoy those in games.
The quizzes sucked. I hated the quizzes. They were fine. The very last one was fine because by the time I made it to the last one, I knew everything. So but there was no question marks.
It was when you were trying to skip ahead to get moves that you didn't play anything, so you didn't know anything.
And I think that was the point. I honestly think that was the point. They wanted it to be more difficult for you to just
skip ahead
without playing the game. But, it gets back to that frustrating part where you don't have enough moves, so you have to skip ahead so that you can go back and collect everything in the rest of the game.
I love all of his, jokes about looking it up on the internet.
Oh, I know!
It's so funny.
Because when you get it wrong, he would say stuff like, all these answers are on the internet. Or you've been looking at your Wikipedia, haven't you? Or he has one that you saw the answer in my glass. So Dr. Quack is really quite a quack of a doctor.
Yes, he is.
He is like in a gumball machine with wheels, and he's like a duck head inside the gumball machine in like an ooze of some sort. He would randomly, he's actually the main boss, who's capital B. He's the sidekick. So you occasionally run into him, and he will quiz you on what you've experienced in the game so far. Some of the answers are just like outrageous that there's no way for you to know it, but most of them are okay. I don't know, I didn't like it. I think it was just because I was frustrated with the first couple because I was trying to skip ahead, so I didn't know anything. Loading screens. How did you enjoy those loading screens?
Absolutely. I loved watching all the pages dance.
I get it to an extent that the loading screens have to be long because they have to load this huge, beautiful world that you're playing in. But they're so insanely long. I would start a stream, because I streamed all my gameplay on Twitch, by the way, so you can see my backlog stuff on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and look up Zap Night Gaming, and you should be able to find everything that we've done, including our my gameplay of Yooka Laylee. But I would start the stream, and I would have 5 minutes of loading, because it's like I start the game, and then I load the world, and then I would show up in the hub world, and then I would get to the actual world that I'm going to be playing in for that episode, and then I have to load that world. But usually, once you get into the world, there's not much for loading screens. It's not too bad once you make it to the actual world that you're playing in. But it's getting to that point that is kind of frustrating. So I think the last thing to really talk about as far as gameplay, unless you have more, is maybe the final boss. How many times do you think you fought the final boss before you actually beat it? You did beat it, right?
I did beat him, yet barely. He died and I died at the same time, but
I mean, it counted.
It still went through the final thing. I don't know, maybe 15 times.
Oh wow. I don't even know how many times I fought him. But again, the biggest problem that I had with this...
It was trial and error, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Right. There's that.
It was figuring out how to do each section.
And when you have 10 or 11 butterflies that you have, or lives...
Yeah.
To restart the fight, if you've totally screwed up, to restart the fight, you have to sit and wait for yourself to die. And it's so frustrating because all you need is a, reload this level sort of button.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that. Not without literally saving and quitting, going all the way back to the main menu, loading the game all the way back up again, and then loading the world back up again to the fight. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I mean, the biggest problem that I had, the learning curve was one thing. I understand that you got to learn how to fight the boss, but just when you royally screw up, I want to be able to just back out of it and try it again right away. I don't want to have to wait for all my hearts to go away. I think another pet peeve that I had, it's not a huge problem, but it would have been helpful, was maybe some sort of like damage meter, just to be able to know how many hits are left, or even that I'm doing any damage at all.
Right, that you're doing the right thing.
Right. Because there's like, what, 5 stages to this boss, to the final boss? And the second stage, you're like flying around the arena.
Trying to hit him with the ice berries.
The ice berries.
And you don't really know.
You have no idea if you're doing any damage or not. It's like he kind of hesitates when you hit him, but you can't really tell because you gotta hit him like 15 times before he moves on to the next stage.
Yeah, it's not like, the first stage where you hit him
3 times
and he falls over and he you visually see that you've done something.
Right.
Whereas in the next part with the berries, you don't really see that. He just keeps flying around.
Yeah. You have no idea. Again, it goes back to trial and error, but it took me a lot longer to figure that out than it really should have. Only because I think there probably needed to be a stage in between during the berry stage, just to give you a heads up that, hey, you're actually doing what you need to do, but let's up the difficulty level or something. Maybe just have the berries in the room and let you shoot at him, and then after 3 hits, he brings out the enemies, and then he starts flying around, something like that. Just something to change it up, so that you know that you're doing the right thing. I don't know. But,
And then the second, or the third phase? Are you done talking about?
No, that's fine, we can keep talking about it.
The ooze.
Oh, yeah, the ooze.
I have to say that was probably the worst part for me to try and figure out is the bees.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't realize that the bees would leave you alone until the very end. And when he hesitated, you had the time to get rid of the bees and hit him. I didn't realize that.
I didn't
thought
either.
As soon as those bees come to you, that
I gotta kill them.
Yeah, that I had to kill them.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I didn't realize that if you kept moving, that they would just keep flying around you until you stopped. So when capital B is like above you trying to kill you by squishing you, there's like no time in between that to kill those bees, because it takes so long to do the supersonic sonar thing,
right,
to be able to kill those dang bees, that it's inevitable for you to get squished. But yeah, once I figured out, I think you had told me that, you can just do it afterwards. It was like, oh, well, maybe, if I keep moving, it won't be a big deal. But I think the hardest part, aside from the second stage, was probably that end stage where he shoots the missiles at you. Mainly because they were heat-seeking missiles, and they were abnormally slow. Plus, capital B was moving, so it was like, I don't know. Maybe it was the way I was controlling Yooka Laylee that wasn't quite right, that it made it overly difficult than it needed to be.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with that.
I got to that stage so many times, and I would either run out of energy while I'm flying around, or the bombs would like be weird and they would get stuck on capital B and it won't explode.
It would like go past his shoulder.
Yeah, or go through his shoulder, or...
I think it was a height thing, because I think what I figured out is I was flying too high, so they were going over him.
I think that's what my problem was too. But
I was having issues running out of energy also.
Right.
So I used a tonic.
Oh, yeah. I think I had that, too.
To kind of bump it up a little bit.
Well, not only did I use the tonic, but I used, I had all of the extenders, too.
Yeah.
So I had this, like, crazy long energy bar for flying around. I practically flew the entire time. I think I only had to recover, like, once or twice. When I did finally beat
that recovery time was crazy.
Yeah! It took forever! And if you run out of energy, there's no avoiding those the missiles.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you can do but sit and get hit. Ugh, that was the worst. But when I did finally beat this level, I was able to, or when I finally did beat the boss, I managed to get all the way to the ooze part without losing any butterflies. And I think I got to the missile part without losing any butterflies. And then I finally made it to fight him with the missiles, and even with losing a few lives in the missile part, I was able to beat him without too much of a problem. But yeah, I was kind of frustrated with some of that. But overall, it wasn't too bad. And then the ending was a crazy long list of backers.
The credits.
Yeah. The ending itself, like you had said, there was the Blastos, or whatever his name was.
Stewie,
yeah. He
like randomly comes in and shoots them into a book, and they get trapped into a book.
Yeah, and then the game ends, and they have this huge celebration for Stewie because he did away with capital B, even though Yooka Laylee did all the work. But hey, Yooka Laylee got their book back.
Yeah.
That's what matters the most here. So, what'd you give it for gameplay?
I gave it a 7.
I give it an 8. I don't think I have a little more patience than you do. I think I didn't get quite as frustrated in some of those things that you did. But I really just enjoyed all the puzzle. I really enjoyed the puzzles. I like trying to figure it out. Even if it is frustrating at times.
For me, I don't know, the mini games, I really thought they were cute and I loved the idea, but they were so hard for me.
Yeah.
And the freaking camera.
Oh, you fought the camera?
I had so many problems with the camera that, there was things that the star fishing thing.
Oh, that's probably the worst part.
It's probably the worst one that I had problems with, where I ended up setting the camera to manual so I could just have it in just a manual or stationary position and then catch the stars around me.
Yeah.
Because I would be running around and that camera would just be like
spinning all over the place.
Circles and I couldn't see any of the stars.
Yeah, I had the same problem with that minigame. Trying to collect the stars. First off, the stars are random anyway. So the odds of you getting 15 or however many you need was like a weird odd.
No, because when I changed the camera, it was fine.
Was
I did it without any problem.
Oh. Well, maybe I just did it the hard way. Maybe I should have just set the camera. Because I ran around that... Because you're stuck in this like real small circle arena trying to catch these stars. And... yeah, it's just, I don't know, it was frustrating. But otherwise, I mean, did you have many camera issues?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, there was a lot of times when I switched it to be stationary so I could do something that...
yeah. I think I had to use the, like, Yooka Laylee view.
It could be more because... of the motion sickness thing.
Maybe.
It was too disorienting for me to keep trying to play these things and have the camera moving around so much.
Yeah. There was a way, one of the trigger buttons would zoom you into Yuka's head, and then you could like look around a little bit, but it still made it difficult. The only time that I really could have used a different type of camera mode was with the second world. There's this platform way up high that it turns out you gotta fly to. I had no idea. Oh. I got everything in that world. Everything other than this one pagey that's way up on this cliff.
I didn't even see it.
I didn't either.
And when I first went through it, it was when I went back when I could fly.
Yeah.
That I had found it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
But I had found everything other than one pagey, And it's like I'm looking and looking and looking and looking for it. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see this one little platform way up on a cliff. I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to get up there? So I'm like trying to climb the mountains, like scale the mountain, because I didn't know that I was going to get a forever fly feature.
Well, you should have known.
I honestly thought that the gliding was going to be the flying.
I mean, because you could fly in Banjo-Kazooie, so...
I just didn't know. I didn't know.
I knew it was coming.
I should have known. But I was frustrated and just wanted to scale the mountain. Even though, now that I've done it, I know that even if I'd have scaled that mountain and got all the way to the top, I wouldn't have been able to do the mini game to get the Pagey anyway. So I would have been ticked off anyway. Gameplay.
And swimming.
Oh my gosh, yeah, swimming was a pain.
Although by the end,
you
it was
had the
fine,
hang of it.
Yeah.
The catch with swimming was that your controller only worked on the 2D plane, like the flat horizontal plane. So when you're moving Yooka Laylee up or back or side to side, it's on that horizontal plane. But then you had to use X or L2 to go up or down.
Actually swim.
Yeah. So
and to swim, you either had to swim up or you had to swim down.
Yeah.
And then while you're swimming up or down, you can maneuver, but you couldn't just go straight.
Yeah.
And that was my problem, is you couldn't just go straight.
Yeah. The fish, when you turned into a fish in the third world, the swimming mechanics in that were a little bit different, and they were like way easier than the regular swimming mechanics. I don't know, it was weird. Gameplay. Are you satisfied?
I think so.
Let's move on to music.
I don't have a lot to say about the music. I don't know. It was very much like Banjo-Kazooie. I mean, the sounds, it was very repetitive.
The music wasn't so repetitive, I didn't think. Each world had its own theme, and it looped pretty seamlessly to where you didn't really notice it, too much over and over again. Maybe it was just because I was more focused on just doing what I need to do to get done to, just playing the game.
I really liked Retro's music.
Rextro. I don't know. I kind of had a problem every time I ran into his area, his bubble of music, that it would change, and I'm just like, oh yes, I know it's nearby. Okay, I don't, and I'll be underneath of it too. I can't even get to it from where I'm at, and then it starts playing again. It was really cute. I think the best memory that I have of that was when I actually made it to the arcade area in the hub world, where you walk in and it's the sounds of the video games playing, and then it's you walk in and there's 6 or so arcades laying around. It was awesome. That was probably the best. Oh, the boss music was pretty cool. Going back to the fourth boss, he had awesome music. I loved his boss music, but every boss had a little bit different music. It was kind of the same music for the level, just kind of remixed a little bit. I don't like the speech thing. I get it that it's a callback to Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes!
And that's totally cute. I get that. But I didn't like it in Banjo-Kazooie either. So
I don't know, I like it.
It's charming in its own way, but I get tired of it way too easily.
I like that if they're not going to have the actual voice acting, that they have some sort of voice.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't like to just plain read and have them not making any noise.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I
don't know, I liked it. Again, this game.
It's very much Banjo-Kazooie.
It's very nostalgic.
Yeah, it is. And it's a lot of fun. Let's wrap up music. I give it an 8 out of 10.
I give it a 9.
Oh, did you? That's so funny. I gave it an 8 just because it was good, but it wasn't like a beautiful soundtrack. I'm not going to listen to it in my car, but it was fun. I mean, it deserved a higher score, but I don't know. I mean, it's if you thought it was a 9, it's perfect. That's awesome. Leave it at a 9.
I'm going to.
I'm not going to change your mind. I just I don't know. It's funny that I don't know.
It's funny.
I didn't have all that many negatives other than I really didn't like the voice acting thing. The voice, I don't know, but I get it. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. So, Lori, what was your overall experience? Did you have fun?
I did. I did have fun, but it was very, very frustrating.
Were you happy when you beat the game?
I was so happy.
Is this the first game that you've beat by yourself? You don't have to answer that.
No, I don't think so. No? I beat Final Fantasy 15 by myself.
That's right, you did.
Which is like my new favorite game.
I know. I loved that they have that callback to Banjo-Kazooie. Obviously, it's a great idea. And it's a lot of fun for players who used to play Banjo-Kazooie or might have kids who, you know, they want to introduce that type of environment to on the new system. So it's there. It's a lot of fun. I really got into the game. The first couple worlds were tough because of the whole not having the moves thing. But after I got most of the moves and I was able to 100% some of these worlds, I really got into it, which is why I wanted to 100% it. Not because I felt like I needed to, but it was simple enough to do without, you know, spending a crazy amount of hours trying to complete it. I really don't think that I'd been able to 100% it without the internet, though. Because I really needed to look up some of those things. There were some things that, like that one quill in the first level that is like super hidden. It would have taken me a long time to scope out every single area to try and do.
For me, that was the casino. I don't think I would have ever figured out to blow up those stupid slot machines.
I feel like
it didn't even occur to me. Like, not at all.
I feel like eventually I would have figured it out because I had the idea earlier that it's like, okay, I have this cannon, I must have to blow something up. So I'm like shooting the security cameras, I'm shooting other things. Eventually I think I would have shot the broken slot machines. And there's one like right there by the transformation station.
Yeah.
So right when you turn into a helicopter, there is one staring you in the face. So, I mean, I would think eventually I would have figured it out without too much of a problem, without looking it up. But there's a few of those, like the red ghost in what's his name, Aggresso?
Angry.
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 In the fifth world, I don't know if I'd have been able to find him on my own.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And then he turns out to be a pain in the butt too to try and catch or to fight.
Fan.
Yep, because of the fan. I don't know if I'd have been able to 100% it without using some sort of, you know, doing some sort of research online to find it. But I really enjoyed fighting the mini games, as difficult as that hurdle one was in the fourth world. I still had a lot of fun, you know, fighting through it, and the feeling that I got after I did finally complete it, it was so awesome, and it made me feel good, and I wanted to keep going and do more. I'm a little bit sad that the game's over. Not like I could do anything else with it anyway, but I don't know, I had a lot of fun. I gave it a 9 out of 10 for my overall experience.
I gave it an 8.
It's okay.
It's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
It's not like it's a 4.
No, not at all.
I really liked this game, even though it frustrated me like crazy.
It's a really cute game. I mean, even if you haven't played Banjo-Kazooie, don't get me wrong, you don't have to play Banjo-Kazooie to appreciate this game. It's a fun platformer, but I think first, it's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle game with a platformer kind of as a secondary category. Like, yeah, there's platforming to it where you gotta jump, make the jumps, and you gotta, roll up hills just right. But really, it's more of a puzzle game than it is anything else because you have to figure out what you're doing to be able to get each page. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, did you tally up your score?
No.
Go ahead and tally up your score.
39.
Probably.
That's awful.
I gave it a 41. So that's an 80. I should have known that off the top of my head. An 80 out of 100. So that's a B. Minus. But I mean, it's still a B. It's pretty good. And I think it's well deserved. It's a really fun game, but you will find those moments of frustration that you'll just want to throw your controller. Or say a couple cuss words, or...
Yeah, I think a B is fair.
Yeah. Capital B.
You beat me to it.
I thought that's where you were going with it.
It
was. If you like puns, man, this game is for you.
Oh. And you know what? Before they did the update in the casino world.
In the casino.
He was talking about going to college, and they spelled college wrong.
Rex.
And I was telling you about it.
Yeah. And then I did it, and they fixed it.
After the update, and they had fixed it. I'm like, no, it was wrong.
The arcade guy in the casino world. Yep. There was a spelling error.
only I would notice that.
That's not true. Clearly, someone else noticed it because they fixed it.
Well, I'm glad they did.
Yeah, me too.
I'm just disappointed that it was missed in the first place.
Actually, they fixed quite a few things that I noticed. From what I've read, they fixed the first boss. They kind of changed it up to make it a little bit easier for some players.
The ice cave.
The ice cave was probably the biggest one for me because that was nearly impossible without flight. The ice cave it was the dark
one.
Dark cave or something.
I don't remember what it's called.
Anyway,
you had to roll. Originally, you had to roll through the whole thing.
And if you didn't roll, you would slip and slide off the platform to your death. So when they updated it, they changed it to where you didn't have to roll anymore. And then it was like super easy. Like abnormally easy. So yeah, they also changed a couple, or at least one mini game, the first arcade game.
Oh yeah,
they changed a couple enemies and just made it a little bit easier for people. And I was so close to getting that top score before they changed it, and then after they changed it, it was a breeze. Now they should have done something different with the
hurdles,
the hurdle mini game, because that one is a pain in the butt. That one is so difficult to get the high score on that. And it's like 24,000 I think you gotta get. And it's so
the hardest thing for me is like you fall behind and the only way to get forward is to roll, but there's hardly ever enough room for you to roll.
Yeah, well, and my problem was, if you fell behind, sometimes it would instantly kill you and bring you back to the front. Other times, you would sit way back there and stuck back there, and they wouldn't respawn you, and you would lose that whole like stretch of quills.
Or you'd lose like 2 lives or something.
Yeah,
weird.
Yep. So it did make it super hard. I think that mini game is kind of buggy, and I think if they fixed that mini game to not be quite as buggy, I think it would be a little more fun and a little bit easier to actually complete without much of a problem. But yeah,
I liked this game.
It's very cute. The dialogue is a lot of fun. I did find myself laughing out loud to a lot of the stuff that they talk about. They crack jokes at each other. Actually, Laylee has got quite a sparky attitude, and half the time Yooka's like, "Laylee, calm down," it's so funny. And
even like the joke, the loading screen thing where they talk about the cartridges.
Yeah, they have an awesome sense of humor. They have during loading screen, it says something like, if cartridges were still in use today,
you wouldn't have this loading screen.
the game would be loaded by now. Yeah, it was awesome and so true. So yeah, a B. It's a good score. It was a fun game.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
I probably would play it again here in another couple years or so after the initial frustration is worn off. I could see myself playing it again just to play it again.
It makes me want to play Banjo-Kazooie again.
Yeah, I could see us doing that. Maybe we'll have you back on for some Banjo-Kazooie.
Or Banjo-Tooie.
Or Banjo-Tooie. I don't think we ever beat that game. I think we started it too and we just let it go. So before we end the podcast, let's talk about our thrift shop game.
I was so excited for this game. It sounded so cute.
You found it at a garage sale, didn't you?
I did, for $3.
$3? Did you actually pay $3 for it?
I did, because I thought it sounded so cute.
What sounded so cute about it?
I saw it at the garage sale. I thought, $3. That's a little much for me, because I usually only spend maybe $1 or $2 at a garage sale.
Right.
But it was like, I read the back, and I'm like, I could run through a candy factory and collect some M&Ms. That sounds like fun.
No fun. It's M&M's Adventure for the Wii. Don't play it if you see it. If you have it, I'm so sorry you spent money on it.
I don't know, man. The boss.
Oh my gosh.
At least watch it on YouTube.
Yes. So
the Cupid.
And it may get worse. I have no idea. But our stream, we streamed about an hour of this game, and you can check that out at our YouTube channel, which we talked about earlier. You can go to zapnight.com. You should be able to find it somewhere. And at the very end of the Valentine section, you fight, in air quotes, Cupid, and he has voice acting, and it's so bad. It's so bad.
The microphone that they were recording in must have been in somebody's basement.
It was so bad, guys. And just, what does he say? Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
I'm gonna punch you in your ears. Something like that. Oh, it's just, it was a painful game to even play an hour of.
It was, they were so, the red M&M, because that's all we played, really.
Yeah.
Was the red M&M.
Mostly, yep.
They were so slow. And there was no way to go faster.
No.
Run faster.
There was no run button.
Normal games, you can do a run or something and go a little bit faster. No.
Or a roll to be able to, roll just a little bit faster. And
then they have these tiny sections where you collect one M&M, and then they have these huge sections
where you collect one M&M.
Collect one M&M.
And for the game to be you collecting M&Ms, there's not very many M&Ms to collect. I think within the first segment, he talks about, there's 4 M&Ms of the 170 that we have to get, and I'm thinking, 170 M&Ms, that's it? I'm like, I want to be. You otherwise collect currency, like this money that's laying around
for extra lives,
and that should have been the M&Ms. Not money. I don't care about money. I want to collect M&Ms. And I think they should have been all different colors, not just the green M&Ms. That's stupid. So yeah, I'm sorry if you own this game. I'm sorry if you own this game and you enjoy it. I have no idea what you're thinking, but if it sounds at all interesting, or you just want a good laugh, you can check it out at our YouTube channel where we played about an hour of it and immediately stopped after the Cupid fight.
Ugh.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Lori, for playing this game with me.
Thanks for having me on. I feel so honored.
You should. Okay. If you enjoy listening to me and Lori talk, we do a Zap Night movie podcast bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
And that's where we go to the movie theater and watch a movie that is playing out either that week or the week before. And
then we chat about it.
Talk about it, yeah. And it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun doing it. We like talking to each other about movies and video games, apparently. So... next month we are playing Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. That will be next month's podcast. And in the meantime, I'm going to be streaming and playing The Last Story on the Wii. And as hopefully Kaylee will be joining us for that podcast. Yep, that'll be for November. So in 2 months, we'll be hopefully have Kaylee back on. And next month, it'll be with a friend of mine, Tubbs. You guys can look forward to some Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. I didn't want to stream Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance because I suck terribly at Mortal Kombat. So I didn't want to be humiliated on live on Twitch.
Like you were on Half-Life.
Very true. Very true. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Zap Night. If you want some more content, check us out at zapnight.com, where you can find everything we've ever done and everything we are working on currently. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.